Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy. Oh, I got something for you today. Gotta calm myself down. Let's do this. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, a story with a message. Message is in the story. I'm giving you good messages. You tune in and receiving them. I hope they're working out for you. That's the game plan. Today, you can get a good lesson. All you got to do is implement it, and you'll see that it works for you too. All right, let's rock. And I appreciate all the views I'm getting from you guys. I appreciate the comments you send in too. Let's do this. Right Thinking Mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment, doing the best you can for yourself. That's what it's all about. Right Think is a way of life, and it is a way of life through mental and spiritual discipline employed daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal, excuse me, of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. That's my mission for all my right thinkers to do just that. Know yourself. And I got the information and the knowledge that you can use to make you do just that. Know thyself. The question I ask for all my right thinkers, you need to have an answer for yourself. Is know thyself. Let's go. A person who knows not and knows not that they even know not is foolish. Disregard them and don't be them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. I can teach you. I appreciate you. That's what I do. I do for you. Stay tuned. I got you. A person who knows not, again, and believe that they know, dangerous, avoid them. I'm not playing that game right now. I got other things to do. I got bigger fish to fry, so to speak. So let's go on. A person who knows, but knows not that they know, is asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock. My job is to wake you up with knowledge of self. A person who knows and knows that they know, probably arrogant, conceited. Nah, they're wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right? Think of know thyself. Until my yacht be true. I like the way the numbers is going. I appreciate it. But today is again a lesson. Some people appreciate, some people don't. Most of y'all are. That's why I do it for you. Right thinkers, let's talk about that little thing called spiritual discipline. Well, what's spiritual discipline? Let's talk about it and how to use it daily. That's my personal motivation. I came up with this idea. I'm saying, well, I got good lesson. I'm giving good. Okay, y'all don't like me talking about me, but I'm gonna talk about me. That's what I got. So let's go. Spiritual discipline is being able, excuse me, is being on your best behavior. When? Daily. That's what right there philosophy teaches you how to be your best self. When? Every day. That's important. If you're perpetrating a fraud and you want people to think you're somebody other than who you are, that takes more work than just being yourself. I'm just saying. Now, spiritual discipline will keep you from what? Punching an ignorant Christian in their face for coming at you the way they do sometimes. And because I have spiritual discipline, I deal with that a whole lot different than I would have. Thank you. Spiritual discipline. Spiritual discipline, again, is the reason why I'm still working. Mhm. Even at what I do, some things I would not tolerate when I used to be where I used to be. I don't. I'm not the same person no more, so I'll put up with that because the old me would not still be working there. Respectfully, okay. I just learned how to acquiesce to situations that may not be to my likings, but I like what I do. I like how I do and when I'm doing that. So some things I can live with. Like your loved one, they're not perfect, but you got to put up with what they do. Why? Because you love them. So spiritual discipline also harnesses the love factor where it keeps you knowing that your loved one, you're going to do right by them. Man, if you're spiritual discipline, side chick, don't stand a chance. Why? Because you're doing what's right. Women, same thing. I'm an equal opportunist. I don't just talk to one sex. I'm universal. We gotta go both ways. I don't do that. Well, no, we both sharing the blame and responsibility for ourselves, be you male or female. That's why I teach that concept. Spiritual discipline has become my best friend. I keep it with me all the time, aka God conscious. Why? I don't leave home without my spiritual discipline. I need them. Why? Because if the ego gets a chance, he will do what he do. And he ain't shame about what he do. He don't care. I, on the other hand, had to pay the consequences for my ego. So I had to keep him in check, whereas he don't get me in trouble. That's another part about being spiritually disciplined. Okay, you're thinking. You're not acting. You're thinking. That's discipline. Discipline is holding yourself accountable to deal with a situation, even when it's not to your likings. Like I just told you, when one of my spiritual discipline, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Okay, moving on. But spiritual discipline, you use it, what? To keep your cool, aka maintaining an air of dignity within yourself. See, when I was coming up, cool was just that. How you conducted yourself, how you presented yourself, how you handle situations. That's cool. In the main hustle's rule, don't blow that. So, as a spiritual disciplined person, I'm back on board with old philosophy that I can still implement today, and it works perfect for me. Spiritual discipline is holding yourself what? Accountable to be what? Your best self. Act like you got some sense. An old phrase, my man Emmitt Smith, I love that guy. Yeah, Emmitt Smith. Act like you've been there before. When you score a touchdown, it ain't no, I did this before. This is moving on. Barry Sanders. I'm not with the showboating. I'm not with the hot doggers. Never was. That's why I didn't wear the number one. So different mentality. But again, spiritual discipline holds you accountable to raise yourself above some of that low level nonsense. Okay, it's all ego. Look at me. Look at me. I scored. Yeah, yeah. All ego. All right. Now, when you're spiritually ignorant, you have no spiritual discipline. You have no self-control, no self-knowledge. You're just haphazardly just doing whatever comes to mind, whatever suits your fancy, willy-nilly. I don't do willy or nilly. So you need to calm yourself down, get under control, and act like you got some sense. That's having spiritual discipline. That's what it does. Harnesses your attitude, your whole persona, so to speak. Spiritual discipline, watch this. God is spirit. Again, that's God discipline. I adhere to my higher self, God, which is spiritual, and I do what's obedient and right in his eyes. That's discipline. I'm disciplining myself to be obedient to my higher self. I'm trying to make it as simple as I can to you. And if you believe in God, start serving him. And then guess what? He'll make his presence known if you are sincere in your efforts and your intent is from the heart is heartfelt. But he also knows your BSs. That's his job. So you a BS. Stop playing God like he's a human. No, he's way smarter than you. Being accountable for yourself is having spiritual discipline. Whenever you say things that you got to apologize for, whenever you do things that you have to pay the consequences for, if they're not good, why you keep doing them? That's spiritual discipline. Stopping that. Okay, if you ain't spiritual discipline, you can continue to treat and do people the same way. Repeated action. It's memory. Your muscle memory says, this is how I am. This is who I am. If you know God, and all you believers claim to know, y'all believe in God. But if you know God, watch this. You will be what? Obedient to God. I didn't have a clue about being good and obedient to God. Now I'm fully fluent and aware of that. And guess what? That's what I call my spiritual discipline. Keeping God conscious and knowing what I'm doing to be right, holding myself accountable to be my best self. That's how I live now. If you just believe in God, here we go. I keep trying to tell you, I don't deal with your believing in God. So don't keep telling me, I believe. It ain't for me to know not what you believe. Cool, understand that. But you're not spiritually disciplined, just spiritually ignorant. Because you're a believer in Jesus Christ and whatever, that's a Christian concept, Allah, Islam, Jehovah, and Judaism. It don't mean a thing what you believe, how you living, and are you serving who you believe. Simple as that. I don't serve man, so I don't answer to man. That's what I answer to. I got no problem doing that. Knowing, excuse me, where we at? Oh yeah, here we go. Now, watch this. Knowing God is the reason for me being my best self. Why? To make him proud, like I'm doing with my dad. I got a spiritual God Father who I want to keep impressed and make him proud of my actions, so I do the right thing according to him. Big difference. Same concept, but just who you serving now. He was a man. Get it? Moving on. There you go. Now, with spiritual discipline, understand this. You will do what? The right thing. When? Daily. You can't be spiritually disciplined one day and then all of a sudden, no, this is a routine, it's a lifestyle that you set for yourself. How and why you do what you do, that's what works for you. That's the right thing in philosophy. You don't have to follow me per se to do what I do. No, just get the lesson, understand them, and implement them for yourself. And that's follow me because that's what I do. Live my lessons, do what I need to do, and help you. Moving on. When I was spiritually ignorant, watch this. I was ego tripping, big time. Every day, man, I was in my mind. When I walked out of my house, showtime. Why? Because I'm the star. I was ego tripping. It's all about me. Big difference. So that's spiritual discipline. That's what it would do. It will change you. And if you haven't changed, you're not spiritually disciplined. Simple as that. Because in order to get spiritual discipline, you have to be what? Not spiritually disciplined. So what you were doing before you started becoming spiritually different have to change in that way. That's the beauty part of it. After, watch this, 30 years of studying and practicing my spiritual truth, I became a master of my spiritual discipline. That's what right thing philosophy is all about. Controlling oneself, having total control over the whole package. Mind, body, and spirit. Mm-hmm. When you know yourself, you should know where you're weak, where you're strong. If you don't have a complete understanding of that, you haven't mastered yourself. So if you still have issues with your dark side, so to speak, or that place where nobody wants to go, no, that's a you problem. Understand that. Moving on. If you become one with your higher self, knowing thyself, finding God, born again, whatever you want to call it, all you want to do is what? The right thing. It's amazing because if you are spiritual, you're driven to do the right thing. If you're religious, you have to force yourself to do the right thing. A little different there. Why? Because it's still up to you. But if you do it in the belief system, you might be a little shaky when it comes to doing the right thing all the time. That's why, I got weak, or I fell off, or the devil got the best of me, or whatever you want to excuse you want you to do the wrong thing and make that excuse. Spiritual people don't make excuses. We do what we do. When I have a situation, watch this, that's getting out of control. Well, not when I say out of control, meaning I'm starting to get agitated. I'm starting to get annoyed to some degree one another. Watch this. When that happens, at this point, I use my spiritual discipline. Old me had no control over that. It's just straight out pure, more ego. So no matter how disrespectful and how unrighteous somebody is, I'm gonna get just as wrong as they are. And my pastor say, once you lower yourself and get in the mud with the pig is comfortable. He got home turf. He got home for advantage. So I refuse to play that game in life. I'm getting spiritual discipline to know that, and I'm implementing it every day. When you're spiritual discipline, your life will change for the better. Why? Because you're not doing the things that you used to do, because now you have a spiritual concept that you go by, principles and morals that set you on the right path of enlightenment, getting to know yourself a little bit better spiritually. And that means doing the right thing for spiritual reason. Not to look good for everybody's applaud. Yeah, I'm so and so, yeah, all that nonsense. He sees you when you're not showing off for anybody. How you act then. That's when spiritual discipline should hold you accountable to just do the right thing. Without, here you go, watch this. Without spiritual discipline, you're spiritual ignorant or religious. A believer. Yes, most religious people have lack of spiritual discipline, meaning they hear the word, they can quote the verses, but they're not putting in the work. They're not actually living it. And that's the part that y'all miss. That's the part that I rag on you about. Don't claim to be this, but you're not doing the thing that showed me you're that. If you're a drug dealer, you dealing drugs. If you're a crack head, you smoke crack. Whatever it is you're doing, that's what you're doing. Spiritual discipline holds you accountable to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. If you decide to be a crackhead, you done made that decision. And if the same goes for if you want to get off. I'm dealing with a scenario coming up where they got this new thing called harm reduction. I advocate against that. Why? I'm stern advocate against drug use. As an ex-drug user, drug dealer, I know the ramifications of drug use. So I would not advocate for that. I'm all with helping them get off, helping them avoid it, but I'm not an advocate for drug use. Personal, okay? And it's not changing. But they got people throwing money at a concept that, oh, it works. No, it don't. The war on drugs just started 40, 50 years ago. We're still losing that war. So you're going to tell me now we're just going to throw up our hands, throw the white flag up. We give up. We surrender. We're no longer going to fight to make y'all guys or help y'all become better people. We just going to give up the fight. And here, use the drug. Here, be safe. Be right. Be in a good environment. So all that nonsense, they're in a bad environment. They're unsafe because they're doing harmful stuff to themselves and helping them along the way. Don't change that. And I'll just get back to the lesson. Sorry about that. I don't know where that come from, but yeah, we're going to deal with that issue coming up. I got it. Put that in the lesson. Okay, here we go. Where we at? Yeah. Now, your life will change for the better. Mine did. So all I can do is tell you what I did to help me. So that's what teaching, as far as I'm concerned, is all about. Giving you what I know, giving you what I've done, explaining to you how you can do it and make it for yourself. You don't owe me nothing. I got this to give. Okay, and that's what I do. God bless the cheerful giver. I love giving knowledge. So that's why a lot of people don't want to be around me. All you want to do is talk that right. I was told, baby, nobody want to talk about God all the time. My response was, I'll find somebody who will. That's you guys. I appreciate you. That's why I do what I do for you. Let me wrap this up. Now, without spiritual discipline, you're spiritually ignorant again or religious. All you religious people, don't get mad at me for what you do. I'm telling you what you do. Why? I see it. Show me what you do, and I'll tell you about that too. I got good Christian family friends. I talk about that all the time in glowing fashion. Why? Because that's what they're showing me. Sorry about that. I get personally talking about my Christian family, my church family. Why? They're good people. Because you're a believer, don't mean you're spiritually disciplined. Again, because you go to church and you that doesn't mean you're spiritually disciplined. You still got some skeletons in your closet that you got to work on. It ain't my business to be in your personal business. But if you're spiritual, that means you have no personal business between you and God. Everything is open to Him. I ain't trying to hide nothing from Him. That's where your heart comes in. That's your conscience. That's what they question at Judgment Day. Right thinking philosophy teaches what? Spiritual truths, aka self-knowledge, not biblical belief system. Trying to be nice because I really don't subscribe to that, and I'm really trying to get around that whole idea. I'm not knocking it. I just say what I do. It's in my cup of tea. And every time I try to explain to you why, y'all get offended. That don't bother me at all. Could care less. Okay. Right thinking. Okay. Next one. Now, if you're not spiritually disciplined, you're living on a beastly nature, aka that third level from waist down, and all you want to do is be satisfied physically, monetarily, fame and fortune, want to be known, want to be all that nonsense. That's what believers do. That's what non-spiritual disciplined people live for. Why? Because they're not awake. They're not aware of that. They're not God conscious. I know some religious people with what? With a no spiritual discipline, just religion. A lot of my Christian friends not church family, other Christians who claim to be Christians, but they're not doing nothing in Christian life, but they claim to be Christian. They wonder why Iraq. Again, stop the perpetrating. If you're religious, that's fine, but be honest. That's what I'm saying. Moving on. Last one, I'm wrapping it up. Oh, hold on. I went past the limit. Sorry about that. Let me wrap it up. I'll get a little quicker now. Rapid fire. Right thinking philosophy will teach you to what? Master what? Your spiritual discipline for self-mastery. In order for you to master yourself, you got to conquer the ego. You got to live, do, and be righteous. Those are things that you control. Okay. As a right thinker, you're learning spiritual truth to do what? Live them and become spiritually disciplined and have a righteous lifestyle based on you using and employing spiritual discipline daily. Spiritual discipline, when used daily, is a spiritual lifestyle of righteousness. We don't think we know better than nobody, but we live for a higher self. Excuse me, meaning we're not answering to the low level nature. We answer to the higher level, which is our higher self, aka God. That's what religion is supposed to get you there. I know some good religious people who follow the tenets, and I respect them. You can't reach, watch this, or be your best self. Why? Without what? The use of and the mastery of your spiritual disciplines. If you haven't learned them, if you haven't acquired them, obtained them, you can't use what you don't have. My people will be destroyed through what? Lack of knowledge and lack of spiritual discipline, aka God consciousness. All right, let me wrap this up. Now, spiritual discipline is being God conscious. Again, boy, I love this. And living your best life when? Daily. Anything you do, you got to do one day at a time. I hear people say, I'm going to take one day at a time. If you find another source, another way, let me know. Because the only one I know is, yeah, we all do the same thing. One day at a time. Last one. Right thinking philosophy masters, which are really spiritually disciplined masters, knowing themselves. Why? Because they practice what they learn and they mastered it for themselves by using it and experiencing it. That's what right thinking philosophy is all about. That's what I do for you. I got more. I'll be back.